Diablo 2 Resurrected has been out for a few days now, and while I'm really enjoying the gameplay experience, it is not well optimized. There are people with 3080s and 3090s that are seeing substantial chugging, and in some severe cases, freezing, crashing, as well as overheating hardware. I haven't experienced those last three, just the chugging. But by the end of this video, that simply will not be you. I'm going to show you guys some settings in D2R in the actual game, as well as some settings on your Windows 10 PC. Hopefully you're running Windows 10 or else this tutorial ain't gonna do it for you. How to apply a little bit of lotion to the bottom of this game and get everything smoothed out. That was a weird analogy, but it's not gonna be skipping anymore. Let's get it. So first things first, in your Blizzard launcher, you want to make sure that you have your game installed on either an SSD or preferably an NVMe SSD. You really don't want to be using a mechanical hard drive in 2021 for just about anything besides bulk storage, but especially a game that is not well optimized like D2R, any possible bottleneck in performance is going to cause issues. Next up, you want to make sure that you are on the latest firmware update or patch version. Now, I have this set up to do that automatically in the Activision Blizzard or Battle.net launcher, which I recommend you guys do, but if you want to do it manually, press on the cog icon and you will go to check for updates. It's going to let me know, hey, you're up to date. Awesome. Another thing you can do is scan and repair if you are having major issues like some people are reporting where their game is crashing or overheating their PCs, then I would recommend scan and repair. Now, if you're having performance issues with D2R, it literally is not just you, it is several people. In fact, a lot of people are having some very severe issues where the game is crashing randomly or overheating their hardware, their actual PC, or just freezing up completely. I haven't experienced any of those issues, but I have experienced some major chugging where the frame rate would dip down and it would look like a disco, like somebody's under a strobe light. Now, this article will be cited or sourced in the description below, as I do anytime I cover any news in the gaming community or industry. Turn off as many background applications as you can so that frees up resources for D2R. Yeah, that's good practice for any game. I have 32 gigs of RAM, but I think 16 is the sweet spot. That's what most people have. So one thing you can do is press Control-Alt-Delete, go to your task manager over here, go to the performance tab right here. You will be able to see the utilization of your CPU, your GPU, as well as your RAM or random access memory. And you can right click and go to summary view and you get this little pop out here and you can put this up on your second monitor if you do have a second monitor. And that way you can kind of monitor what's going on. Now, another thing, they don't mention it here, but it makes a huge difference, is to turn off any third-party screen sharing or streaming applications. So Discord has a streamer mode. Uncheck the box for that. Steam has an in-game overlay. Uncheck the box for that. Windows 10 has a baked-in Xbox Live application that is basically watching your gameplay, ready to record a clip for you if you need it. Turn that off. This is especially important if you are running something like OBS, Streamlabs OBS, XSplit Broadcaster, or Twitch Studio, and you already have that screen recording for you or streaming. Then you're just adding another program on top of that. So definitely make sure that you turn off third-party streaming applications, which kind of ties in with this one. Prioritize D2R. Go to Task Manager, Details tab, right-click on Diablo 2 Resurrected.exe, so the actual program file, select Priority High. That's cool and all if you're just a gamer. If you are a streamer or YouTuber, i.e. you're screen recording your gameplay footage for YouTube videos, you might run into some issues when you do that because it is prioritizing D2R, your game, over OBS or Streamlabs OBS, your broadcasting software. So you might be skipping or dropping or losing frames in your screen recording. So this should be a last resort. This is a big one here. That's what she said. And I do mention this when I go through the actual screen share in the game of the settings that I have selected. And this as well, you know, again, I have a 3080, but I've actually tapered back on some settings. Instead of very high 160 frames per second, how about high 60? Still looks great and it runs smoother. And then this one is just a big silly Billy. I don't know who the journalist is over there, but he's been smoking the devil's lettuce, the wacky tobacco, if you will. If the situation is really critical, try switching to legacy graphics, which will transform the game into classic D2, which is cool. You press by default G on the keyboard and it switches on the fly to the old school graphics and soundtrack. Why would you want to play the entire game like that? That would mean that you just wasted your $40 on a remaster you can't play. If you wanted to play it like that, you could have picked up D2 for like $7. And then you want to make sure you have the up-to-date GPU drivers. There's a couple ways to do that. There is this method here. You're going to press Windows R. You're going to put DXDiag in there. press enter. You're going to press yes. Now this is going to give you the specs of your rig. If you come over here to display, it is going to give you the current version of your drivers. However, the easiest way to check and install the latest drivers for an NVIDIA GPU is just to have what's called GeForce Experience. It is a very light program, and it does keep you up to date with all the latest game-ready drivers. You click on drivers over here. Hey, you have the latest GeForce drivers. Check for updates. Hey, you have the latest GeForce game-ready drivers. So we're good to go there. And AMD also has a program very similar to this. I'm going to take you guys in game and show you the settings that I have manually changed in D2R to get the best experience. And as you can see, as I'm running around, it's pretty consistent. It's not dipping below 120 frames per second. Now, a couple of settings you Stallions and Stallionettes should change. First of all, you should be running this in full screen. You should be running any game, especially in Windows 10 operating system, in full screen. It is much less resource intensive because Windows gives it priority if you are running it in full screen. Plus, if you are a live streamer or somebody that uses a program like OBS to screen record for YouTube footage, you'll be able to use what is called game capture instead of display capture. So that's another reason to run it in full screen. Resolution, of course, is going to be the native resolution of your monitor. Do not mess with resolution scale or sharpening. Now down here, you're going to notice that I have VSync off, but I have a FreeSync monitor. Now, if you have VSync, G-Sync, or FreeSync, those are the three monitor technologies that match up your game's refresh rate with the native refresh of your monitor. I have this turned off, and I have a manual frame rate cap of 60. Now, when I'm playing competitive first-person shooters or battle royales, I target 165 hertz. That is the native refresh of my monitor, and those games severely benefit from having a high refresh rate. Something like an isometric view dungeon crawler like Diablo really doesn't matter. So I set it at 60 frames per second with vertical sync off, and that has smoothed 90% of the skipping or juddering that I was seeing on screen. Give it a try. Let me know in the comment section below if it did work for you. If it did, absolutely bend over and have your way with the like button. That does help me to grow my channel. Now, graphic presets over here. Of course, I can crank it to very high. I have a 3080, but why? It already looks great on high. I noticed the graphical difference between high and very high wasn't that noticeable, but I was actually seeing a performance difference. High is what you should be going for. Dynamic resolution scaling. If you have a mid to low end PC or any PC that is really struggling to consistently hold the selected frame rate, so for me it's 60, then I would recommend turning on dynamic resolution scaling. How you're going to be able to check your frame rate is you're going to press enter, and then you're going to type in /FPS, just like that, and hit enter. And that is going to give you this display in the top left where it has my frames per second and my ping, which, as you can see, is staying at a steady 60 frames per second. When I had it set at 165, the highest that would really go is 120. So I don't know if that's the actual cap for the game, but I had 165 selected, which is my monitor's refresh, and it would only hit 120, and it would actually dip down to about 115 every once in a while. At 60, it doesn't wither, it doesn't buckle, it doesn't sway, it is consistent. So anisotropic filtering, even if you can go higher, I would recommend keeping it at 2x. 1x looks ugly as F. 2x is fine, just keep it there. Alrighty, Stallions and Stallionettes, hopefully this tutorial was beneficial for you guys to help smooth out the performance of D2R. It is a very, very fun game. I like what has been done with the game. I think that the fact that they kept the core gameplay the same, but have kind of gave it a fresh coat of paint, a nice little facelift, if you will, is great, but it is not well optimized whatsoever. The fact that I'm struggling here with my 3080, not anymore, not with these settings, but you know, out of the box, missionary position, vanilla settings, they weren't doing it for me. And there's people with 3090s and stuff claiming that they're having chugging issues and stuff. That's when you know a game's not well optimized. If this video did help you out, liking it will help it to get seen by more people, so this information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, as well as tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing. And I do honest gaming peripheral reviews, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, unless something wild happens, or I get stuck playing Diablo.